Hello, welcome to another Q&A question on my contest. So many questions. Much appreciated because you ask, I answer. I'm here to serve. I have about 20 minutes in this camera, so let's see if I can knock out a bunch of questions in 20 minutes. First up is Sarge TD. Thank you for the subscribe. He asked, do you think it depends on what age when you first read comics if you like them? Absolutely. I think that applies to just about everybody because I think depends on how old you are at the time. Whatever it is that you read affect you differently. I brought this point up many times that when New Mutant 98 came out, if you're 10 years old or 12 years old or even 14 years old, your perception of that book, Rob Liefeld art, is certainly going to be very different from someone reading it if they are 25 years old. So absolutely how you like any books or any characters have a lot to do with the age that you're in. Okay, it's I can't say enough about that because as you mentioned, you did not care for Wolverine when he first came out in Hulk 181. I think you mentioned that, and I have met quite a few collectors older than me. I'm 47. I know quite a few older than me that also had the same sentiment that when Hulk 181 came out and they were in their late teens, early 20s, they thought Wolverine was nothing special. I'm sure that's probably the majority mindset compared to the 12 years old that saw Hulk 181 and thought, wow, he looked cool. Okay, so absolutely, how old you are have everything to do with how much you will like comic books, you will like a certain characters or certain authors or certain storyline. Okay. Okay, let's see. It's not 1984. I have a question. He collect a video game and he's wondering if I collect anything else. And the answer is no. At one point I collect stamps, but I thought about collecting vinyls or other things, but I just don't have the time. Comic books take up enough of my time already. Okay, let's see. Cool guy R99, the winner of the contest from the UK. Okay, what did he ask? Let's see. My question is, who do you think is the most underrated writer and artist? Tough one. I would say Louise Simonson is always a name that ring in my head as far as underrated. We certainly don't have that many women in this business, and I felt that Louise Simonson was always a pretty decent writer, good storyteller. Certainly her run um, on X Factor was awesome. I enjoyed that very much. I put that run in the top four as far as Copper Age, modern, when I was collecting in the 80s. I put that, right below the. I put X-Men, Teen Titan, Thor, with the Simonson run, and then X Factor, and then New Mutants with Chris Singovich. That's how I would rank my top 5 runs of the modern slash Copper Age. So Louise Simonson is way up there and certainly rarely discussed. So as far as underrated writer, Louise Simonson. As far as artists, Um, I say as far as mainstream, I go with Sao Buscema. Um, one thing that I love about Sao is his transformation. Maybe one of these days I will do a video on him, but I really like how he transformed himself in the later years. He went from being a clone of his brother, and then slowly he kind of evolved, especially in his run on the spectacular Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man. In that run, if you have it, you will see that he transformed himself into something very different, which I really like because it kind of not quite like Bill Sinkovich, but it it's pretty cool. I like his style. So no doubt, he's one of those Bronze Age artists that I felt is very underrated. Definitely not talk about much because of Big Brother John Shima. Other than that, when you talk outside of comic books into magazine, uh, even in comic books, I have mentioned this many times. Many of the Filipino artists like Alex Nino, Alfredo Alcala, but Alex Nino is incredible, and it's too bad that for whatever reason he did not do any more comic books than he did. Let's see. I can find something quick. Full Killer 5160. What was your favorite characters? Well, he asked what was the very first comic books. Iron Man 150. I showed that in other videos. And favorite character is of course Wolverine. Thank you for the easy questions. Next up is Across the Pond from the UK. The Horror House of Hogarth. I can't even say that word correctly, but thank you, my friend. I think the name is Brooke. What is your CCC forum name, and how long have you been a member of the forum? Also, do you use GPA for CCC Comics for analyzed market? My forum name on CCC forum is ETA Nick. Basically, if you go to any forum that I have ever participated, from car forum to comic forum, is always ETA Nick. Not ETA Nick 1. For some reason, YouTube add the 1 on my thing. But if you go to CGC forum, you will see many of my posts under ETA Nick. Okay, and I have been a member of the forum since 2009. Right after I returned to the hobby in late 2008 or so. I went back into the hobby before I joined the forum. And I used to subscribe to GPA, especially when I was much into submitting books to get graded, as well as selling and buying slab. Now that I rarely buy slab books, I don't subscribe to GPA. No need to spend the $10. But so the answer is I used to, not anymore. And thank you for the question, Brooke. Okay, so next up we have Lee Kirby Ditko. He asked that if I have any early Amazing Spider-Man book. He saw that I show Amazing Spider-Man 1 in one of my grading tutorial. And yes, that is issue number 1. At one point of my collecting career, collecting life, I did have a total, almost a complete run of Spider-Man in slabs from Amazing Fantasy 15 all the way through 129. I was missing 2 issues. which was issue 50 and issue 39. But over the past 3 years, I have sold a lot of those books because I have found raw copies, and as you all know, I prefer to have raw copies. So as far as what I have left, I still have that slab number one. But as far as stuff that I have around for you, Lee Kirby Ditko, I have a number two. Hopefully you can see the glass not so bad. Here's number two. Very decent copy. And then number four is the very first book that I got a restore label in my very first submission to CGC years ago. I kept it as a reminder of the mistake, but here you go. And then I have number 7. Hopefully you can see. There you go. That's better without the glare. So that's number 7. I do have a raw number 8. And last but not least is a number 10. So as far as early 1 to 10, outside of number 1, this is what I have. The missing numbers that I don't show is books that I have sold, I no longer have. The odds of me replacing them will be slim. I really have no more desire to complete my Spider-Man run. There was a time where I wanted to replace all my slab with raw copies, but over the past 2 years, I lost all desire to try to complete that task. And then a few people have replied to my sketches and stuff, and then Space Baby also had a question regarding that how to draw a comic book the Marvel way, and the answer to Space Baby is yes. When I was in the early 80s, when I was obsessed with comic books, I was able to borrow a copy from the school library, and I borrowed that book as often as I could to learn how to draw the Marvel way, and I had a lot of fun. I kind of wish I have a copy, but it's one of those things where if I run across a cheap used copy somewhere, I definitely will pick it up just for nostalgia's sake, as well as showing my son how to do it. But these days, a lot of the stuff that's in that book is on YouTube. There's tons of videos of that, where Stan Lee and John Buscema was sitting there and draw. It's awesome. I watched those videos many times, and in fact, I showed it to my wife and son a couple of weeks ago, one of the video, and I was trying to illustrate to her the dynamic thing that he was talking about. So I dug through my desk and found a couple of sketches. Nothing special. Trust me, I don't think I'm anything like Raza. I think Raza is extremely talented. Tony, Why Not Art. There's a lot of other people in this community that are way more talented. But here is, if you can see, a very rough sketch that I did a few weeks ago to show my wife and son the dynamic of the action. As I show them the video of John Buscema, I kind of give her a quick take on how you can draw an action scene, an action pose that add dynamic. As you can see here, Wolverine with the wide swing, the body arc, the sweeping body arc motion. But as you can see, that's it. That's my extremely rough 10-second sketch. And then it's often, I these days I sketch, I doodle on scrap paper, and most often I give to my son and he scrap it. I don't keep much around, but here's what I found. Can you see? This is pretty, one of them. It's a sketch of Wolverine. Hopefully you can see. It's, like I said, it's just a headshot that I doodle with a pen. Like nothing fancy. Last but not least, one of the headshot of a girl, a woman, as you can see right there. So, but that's it. Like I said, these things take me literally 5 seconds. Like I said, is it good? No. I'm definitely, I can tell you, if I have time and do a video on how I sketch, you will see that my style is chicken scratch. Definitely not clean and neat and crisp like John Byrne or even Neil Adams or other people. It's a lot of chicken scratch. Let's see. Next on the list would be Scott Mutton Stew. Mutton Stew 99. I'm not sure how you get the name Mutton Stew. Hopefully you don't like to eat mutton. Definitely not one of my favorite food, but I do like stew. He asked if I would ever wear Ravens or Patriots jersey. No, no. There's your answer, Scott. Let's see if I can bang out some more question here. District 12 Comics have a question on how I keep my books in such great shape, and I don't really have the right answer. If you watch my videos, right, you certainly don't see me using microchamber paper ever. I don't think it's that important. I think microchamber paper is useful, but given the environment that I keep my books today, as you can see, many of them I have for 10, 20, 30 years, white page, crisp and perfect. Book ages very poorly in heat and humidity. And one of the problems that happened in the 70s, 60s, 50s, prior to the 90s, okay, even in the 80s, is central AC. I grew up in the 80s without central AC, so paper, pulp, cheap pulps that were used to produce these comic books were, very, they degrade faster in hot and humid condition, no doubt about it. So, uh, you know, unfortunately, many of the Silver Age books and even the 70s stuff that we have tend to have a little yellowing of the covers and stuff because of the exposure to the environment, and there's nothing you can do about it. But today, where most collectors live in central air place, when you keep the books in the 70s degrees and low humidity, they will last for a long time without microchamber papers. I had certainly never buy microchamber paper, and I don't foresee myself ever buy microchamber paper. I'm not gonna preach to people to not use it or use it, but as you can see from my video, my books are plenty nice without microchamber paper. People can go crazy on trying to put. Everybody have their own way of protecting the book. Some people think putting them in a slab protect them from handling. Sure, but I can guarantee you, if there's a flood, that slab, the book inside will be damaged because it's not airtight. Okay, the book inside the casing is not 100% airtight. So if you toss that slab into a swimming pool and watch it, it won't be long before the book inside is soaked. In my belief, I believe that's the case, because books, papers need air to age properly. You can't put something in airtight and not allow it to breathe. Okay. And then also, I use Mylar not on every books. Over, in all honesty, in my lifetime of a collector, I have bought 400 Mylar slash Mylites. That's it. Only 400. So that to give you an idea of the thousands of books that I have, only 400 are kept in Mylites or Mylar. So, you know, some of the keepers, I keep them in Mylar and full back, just so that they're not damaged from handling. But other than that, a lot of my books are in just regular poly bags and cheap backing boards. It's like I said, I lived with my collection for 30 plus years, 33, 34 years. So I saw how they age. I saw how some books were yellow due to the poor element that I kept them. I kept some of my books for years when I was after college, during college. I store my books everywhere, at my sister's, at my parents' house, wherever there's room for them. And some of them were kept in the furnace room, the room where the big furnace, hot and humid. And those books were aged much worse than the rest of my collection. So it's not a surprise. Other than that, that I do nothing special to keep my books in good condition. For sure, before I take them out of the bags to read them or to flip through them or to do any video, I always wash my hands. Okay, that's a must. I don't want any oil, any kind of substance on my fingers that will touch the books. And if you see my video enough, you'll notice that I also put a cardboard over the dining room table, because I don't want anything on the table touching the food. Touch any food on the table touching the books. Sure, I wipe the table also, but you never know. Better be safe than sorry. And then she asked, her last part of her question, District 12 asks, is what is your favorite or most exciting stealth buy? Tough question. Tough question. I bought so many over the years that I really would have a very hard time pinning down my favorite. I can say, one of the biggest profit I got was an X-Men 1. I bought an X-Men 1 a few years ago, and within 7 months I was able to sell it for $5,000 more. So that was one of the bigger dollar profit that came to mind. And then another one that came to mind as far as percentage, I would say is a few years ago, before the Avengers movie came out, just before the movie came out, I bought an Iron Man 55 that looked really beautiful for $120. I bought for $120, and then I slabbed it because I thought it looked really nice. And when the movie came out, I got the slap back. It was a 9.8, and I sold it. So you can imagine how much an Iron Man 55 went for. I sold it a lot less than what it is today. Now the book has keep rising to like $3,000 or more, but that was a great gain for me for $120. I definitely made 10-15 times my money. So percentage wise, that was one of the better flip. And I think that should do it for now. I don't want to keep the video running too long, but once again, thank you everyone for all the good questions. I will try to finish and wrap up everything on the next video. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Bye.